Eight $401 billion productivity lessons. So why do I even care about this? It's not because Ravi Abavala makes a ton of money and gets back a ton of his time. It's not just because Dan Martell, worth $80 million, is also about all getting his time back. It's not about Richard Branson necessarily living the life any entrepreneur that would want to have whatever they want. It's not just because Alex Hormozy talks about how you need to make more. And it's not just because my clients have been able to take 5 hours of productivity down to 2 hours and then that transcribing into over 21 hours a week back. And it's not just because helping Justin go from 25K a month to 57K a month, getting rid of self-doubt and anxiety, and helping him dial in all of his systems so that he could scale his business with ease. It's not just because of those things. And it's not just because I've traveled to over 30 countries, had record months, and still been able to have my dream relationship, body, and business. I care about this because of this book. The book is called How to Be a Productivity Ninja. Worry less, achieve more, and love what you do. Now, I believe, like in this book, it's all about how to get more done in less time with less effort. And the way that I see this is the more I get done in my business, in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort as possible, the more side quests I can achieve along my business game. The more I can live my life the way that I want to live my life. So think for you, the more you grow your business, the more you get done, the more freedom you'll have as you grow your finances. It's not going to be just hustle and hustle and hustle and hustle. Like you can actually have the life that you want. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Luke Anning. I help entrepreneurs stop self-sabotaging and get out of their way. I was part of a seven-figure business as a growth partner, building the sales team, and I've been coaching for the last 4 years. Have a podcast that's top 2% as well. So let's get into it. So why does Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4 Hour Work Week, 4 Hour Body, 4 Hour Chef, why was he able to dial in his Guinness World Record and be one of the only American people to have a Spanish related world record in dancing, in tango, September 2006? Why was he able to win the national kickboxing championship in Chinese kickboxing after just 2 months of training? Why was he able to do so many different podcasts, be an investor? It's because of how he uses his time, how he uses and how he structures things, how he operates, the same as these other people before. Dave Ramsey, valued at 55.2 million in 2018, said the weird thing is that the more efficient, on task, on goal you are with your time, the more energy you have. And where can that energy go? Well, to anything else that isn't business, with things that you actually want to do in your life. So, lesson one, treat your phone like a money making machine, not a entertainment and catch up with your friends device. Now, in the US, approximately 91% of adults own a smartphone. The average daily smartphone usage among adults is estimated at 4 hours and 2 minutes in 2025. In Australia, 2 hours and 57 minutes. And this is meant to be for the UK, is for 3 hours and 49 minutes. Now, initially, when I heard these stats, I thought that this was complete bullshit. I was like, there's no way that I spend this much time on my phone every single day. So I ran my own little experiment. And so I time tracked. And what I did was I analyzed what I was doing every 15 minutes over 3 days. This was my first year in business. It was when I was hitting my first 10K months. And I was working anywhere from 11 to 16 hours a day, roughly 14 hours a day. And I was telling everyone, I wore my work hard ethic like a badge of honor. But lo and behold, I found out that I was wasting 3, 4, and even 5 hours a day scrolling on my phone and being distracted. And imagine this, you're somebody that works 14 hours a day and taking that down to 11 or even 9. Like, what could you do for yourself? Like, what would you honestly be able to do if you had more time back because you were treating your phone like a money-making machine and not just an entertainment and catch up with your friends kind of device? Now, what you need to realize is when you're using your phone on the regular, when I used to check my phone first thing, I'd waste the first hour or so of my day scrolling, and then end the day in scrolling as well. And what you're doing is you're training your prefrontal cortex to be reactive rather than proactive. Look at reactive as like if you've ever played sport and you're trying to play defense, you're having to consistently react, react, react. There's not a ton of strategy behind defense. It's more like just panic and try and hold on to what works and try and defend what the other people from scoring. But it's the same with your business. If you're consistently in reactive mode, you're kind of burning the candle at both ends. Whereas when you're being proactive, when you know exactly what you're doing, what you should and shouldn't be doing with your time, you don't have a self-sabotaging pattern of going on your phone and scrolling yourself out. You're not going to feel burnt out. You're not going to feel overwhelmed. You've got clarity. You've got direction. And then you're able to not get cheap dopamine from your phone. You can get dopamine from actually completing the tasks that you know you need to do. So the lesson here is you will not get more done if you spend your time scrolling rather than creating. And a mantra I like to use is creating is for winning, consuming is for losers. Now, this you also have to be mindful of because you are consuming right now. And what's the difference between consuming and creating as well as learning, since that's one of the key roles as a CEO of your business. You maybe, depending where you're at, you have the CEO as a visionary, you have your marketing, you have your sales, you have your operations, you have your admin, you might have HR, you might have tech, and of course you've also got the learning piece so that you can continue to come up with new strategies and have some research and development here. But at what point does consuming become self-sabotage? When you're not implementing what you learn. I like the principle of 1 hour of learning, 4 hours of action. Really strong principle I heard from a life coach a long time ago, and it stuck with me. So that's the first lesson. Lesson 2 is task to energy. Task to energy. Now, if you look at this graph here, what you'll see is that you have varying levels of energy in the day. Level 4 is feeling powerful, thinking super fast, and anything is possible. Normality is you can think quickly and efficiently, plan, write, read, compose, but probably not at your most optimal point in time. Level 2, you can function on low-level activities, conversations, watching TV, editing images, doing quick admin tasks, playing instruments. Level 1 is brain foggy, difficulty in thinking or responding quickly, and all you want to do is sleep. Now, I like to break this down as most people don't pay attention to their energy levels. They trash their energy levels by staying up late or pushing through and grinding out when your energy really isn't there to do that. And then you're getting frustrated and you're like, oh, well, why am I not getting as much done as I wanted to? Well, it's because you're not aligning your tasks to your energy. What we do with clients is we help them study their energy. And this is, again, different for men and it's different for women. And they plan around it. Men have a 24-hour cycle. Women have a menstrual cycle, so they have 28 days of different varying energies. But imagine what you could do if you knew how to operate and do what tasks and when. You'd be so much further ahead of every single person around you. You'd actually be reaching your potential. Now, an example of my day of how my energy goes best is 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. I have my best energy. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'm still on the cusp of level 3 and level 4. 11 to 1 p.m. I have active attention, so this is when I'm typically having some food, I'm doing a little bit of active learning, and then for here, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. I start dropping down into level 2 active, and then 3 to 4 p.m. I'm actually in level 1 inactive. So doing this YouTube video content right now is not very energy consuming for me. For other people, it is, and that's where you're really going to have to learn about where your energy works best for you, because what works for me isn't going to necessarily work for you. But that's why you need to have somebody who knows what they're doing in terms of energy alignment and task alignment and task prioritization to teach you and guide you of how to do that. And that's what we do with our clients. Now, all of this is also key because if you're a service provider and delivering solutions to clients, most of my clients have been through coaching programs before. Some of you guys have been through things where like you're going through trainings and they're like 2 hours long of training of just educating you, and it feels like a university lecture, and you're like, I'm still not getting to where I want to get to. And I remember when I went through a big program from a big name in the space. He was doing millions and millions each month. And they said, oh yeah, it only takes about 2 hours a day to implement these modules. And yeah, like maybe implement the stuff, but not actually do the stuff. There were like 9 modules, each one was at least 12 hours. And that's why within my community, I've actually evolved quite a lot myself. So I've gone from a long time ago when I first ever started creating courses and programs and stuff like that. I would create these 30-minute videos, these 1 hour videos, another 30-minute one on habit formation. And this was because my first mentor, all of his training videos in his training program were all 2 hours long. But think about yourself as you scale, right? As you have team members, as you have other people that you need to educate to be at their best. Do you think it's going to be worth their time going through 2 hours of training just so that they can get wider context? Or is it going to make more sense that they go through the things that they need to, they get a short reason why at the start, and then they implement and then they learn as they go? It's going to make more sense that they learn as they go. We're not studying for an exam, we're operating in business. Like, we don't need things that are going to be 2 hours long. Whereas now, comparatively, I don't even do these long ass presentations anymore. You might have been trying to do long ass presentations for people. And like this for me used to take me not only probably an hour planning each one, another hour or 2 hours because I didn't leverage my time um, creating the presentation, and then another 1 hour. Like it would be like 3 to 4 hours per video. Whereas now I look at all my videos generally are below 15 minutes. 90% of them are below 10 minutes, and then I can just dump all my information into a Google Doc, include some images like we're doing now, and then talk people through the frameworks, and they learn the exact same things that they were learning here. So it's the same for you as you're planning your energy out. Do you even have the capacity of energy to do 3-4 hours of training or 3-4 hours of creation in your marketing to actually like probably not. You probably don't have that kind of energy capacity, and then you're wondering why you're falling behind or you feel behind than everyone else. It's because you're just creating for this sense of perfectionism rather than just doing what you need to in the time that you have and the energy you have and then moving forwards. And that's going to benefit your communities way more. Now, lesson 3 here is you're unsuccessful because your environment doesn't support it. Now, I see a lot of business owners here in Bali, and there's a big nomad hub, and they'll say, yeah, I'm just going to Nirvana, or I'm just going to go co-work at a cafe. For anybody that knows anything about productivity, the worst thing that you can do is be in another environment with other people distracting you. It's the worst thing that you could possibly do. And unless you're super headphones locked in, it's not the space that you should be. Unless you're going for an intentional meeting, you are literally just filling a void of feeling lonely and inadequate and looking for validation from a friend that also doesn't probably know what they're doing. That's why they're hanging out with you, because they're looking for validation on what they're doing. Compared to if you're looking for validation on the work that you're doing, why are you not just asking your customers what they can improve, what you can improve on? Why are you not just asking the people on your social medias, if you have it, about your ideas and getting them to vote? Those are going to be the people that are buying your service, not your friends. Like, does not make sense. What I would rather see you do, and what has worked significantly better for me, is I have work mode, I work, and then I go and see people on my freedom and flow days, which we're going to talk about later. Now, if you're getting value from this in any kind of way and you're not liked and subscribed, make sure to go and like this video and subscribe, and we'll keep seeing you as we go through here. Now, like I said, work, get your stuff done, then celebrate after with a trip with a friend. If at the end of the day, if you want feedback on your work, get inside a paid community where everyone has the same goal, or at least a free community where everyone has the same goal. Ask your community, and then that way it's not taking as much time as you want to. You're going to ask your communities, but don't ask people that aren't making as much as you want to make, or aren't doing the things that you want to do, or aren't teaching specifically on the topic that you want to be taught on. The first year of business, I remember just before I invested into high ticket, I used to drive all the way up to Bristol, which used to be it's not used to be, it's still a destination in England, where I used to hang out. It's about an hour from me, and I used to go up there because there was another entrepreneur And I didn't really know any online entrepreneurs at the time, and I wanted to be around somebody and not be alone. And like partially I got a little bit of things done, but I would drive an hour there. I would stay at her place, and then like in the evening, she had a habit of smoking weed, and then I would smoke weed as well. Not because I necessarily wanted to, but that's what she was doing. And I thought that was what was okay for doing as an online entrepreneur. But I was broke, and you need to ask yourself, like, are the people around you, do they have the habits? Do they have the businesses that you want to have? Are they inspiring you? So if they're not, like your environment is not conducive to your success. And you've got to weigh up what's the opportunity cost of the next best alternative. Like, is it better that you go and hang out with friends to build your businesses who also aren't achieving their goals? Or does it make it sense to be in alignment with people that are achieving their goals? For me, that's why we created the Get Out of Your Own Way community. Like, we have a ton of killers in here that are all here looking to crush it. They all have big goals. Like, Amanda's looking to hit 50K months. Um, Kieran's looking to do 100K a year. Um, we have Valentina is looking to hit 50K months as well. Um, yeah, 50K a month here as well. So like if you're not in a community with that, then what are you doing? You need to get around other like high level people. So that's number three. Lesson number four is trying to rely on willpower alone will screw you. Now, you want to think about willpower as that time when you fuck up, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm never going to do that thing again. I'm never going to do that habit. I'm never going to engage in that self-sabotaging thing that I always do, whether that's porn, scrolling, um, it could be hanging out with people that aren't in alignment with you. It could be saying no to business. It could be grinding yourself out. There's many different things that you may be doing that are sabotaging your success. And when I was in Iceland, I initially told myself like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna work all these hours. And up to that, I'd been doing 80, 100 hour work weeks every week. And this was after the season of analyzing my time and then actually optimizing it. And the reason why willpower would never have worked whilst I was there, because I was already programmed. I already have programming in me. You have been programmed since the age of 7 or earlier than that to operate in a certain way. And then how you've operated continually within that, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, is how you will continue to operate. So you can't just willpower it and say, I'm going to change. You have to have systems and structures in place to change. And that's going to feel unsafe. It's going to feel out of your comfort zone. Like when I was in Iceland, I had the most amazing time. I only worked 20 hours the whole week. I hit a 20K month in sales. But if I hadn't had the accountability in place to keep me on track, I would have totally screwed that up. I would have 100% have screwed that up. This is what my calendar looked like for the week, by the way. And the reason being, because when I wasn't working, I had to face me being outside of my comfort zone. There's you where you're currently at in your comfort zone, there's your growth zone, and then there's your panic zone. And I would challenge some of you to go into your panic zone, which is outside of your comfort zone, because then you're going to see what really your limiting thoughts are and your limiting feelings. And for me, what that was a lack of safety. I realized that, hey, whenever I try and do things that are way outside my comfort zone, I have a lack of safety pop up. And that might be the same for you. Anytime you try to change something, you go back to your comfort zone, you go back to what's comfortable. And then, 1 year down the line, you're still exactly where you were last year. And that's because you keep going from your current zone to your growth zone to your panic zone, and then you go back. As soon as you hit the panic, you go back. And it's the same when you're trying to get more productive. If you try to build more structure, you try to get more clarity, you might try to get more direction, you might be like, oh, this is killing my creative spirit, or this makes me feel like I'm in a box, or whatever. That is your panic zone. That's your comfort zone trying to pull you back from being outside of the comfort zone, and that's going to screw you as well. So the next lesson here is don't copy other people's morning routines. Find what works for you. So when you're searching online, the best morning routines, the best evening routines for success or for seven figures or for entrepreneurs, you need to test and trial what works for you. Now, at one point in time, I was following the Alex Hormozy morning routine. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what that is, Alex runs a $100 million portfolio, acquisition.com, and his morning routine is literally wake up and go to work. And he's like, well, yeah, like the more you just go to work, the more you're gonna be in like doing the things that you need to. And that didn't work for me because I felt really scattered and really ungrounded during my day. And I just felt, again, really unsafe. So that didn't work for me. And then you've got the Tony Robbins 15-minute power morning, right? Where you're doing breath work, priming, visualizing, all these different things. And yeah, that could be valuable for you. That could work for you. But it's not going to work if you're trying to do everybody's morning routines all at once, or you're doing things that aren't in alignment with you and actually work for you. So, like for me, I tried to do all these different routines and I would try and pack in more and more and more and more and more. And then I would all the time not follow through, and that gave me a lack of integrity. Then I would blame myself, and then I would have a lack of self-trust and a lack of follow through. And that leaked out absolutely everywhere. It leaked out everywhere. I wouldn't follow through on client commitments. I wouldn't follow through on sales commitments. I wouldn't follow through on marketing commitments, back end commitments. Everything would start following through, and that had a direct impact on my cash flow as well, because then my cash flow wouldn't follow through. It's kind of like the universe was saying, like, oh, you can't follow through. I'm not going to follow through with the material things that you want either. And you might be in that position as well, where you're not following through on everything that you know you should be, and the universe isn't blessing you either, or God isn't blessing, like however you want to put it, right? Like, so what you really need to do here is you need to start stupid, simple. Simple scales, fancy fails. And for me, I know I'm self-sabotaging when I try to put too much on my plate. You might be in a similar position as well. And what I would recommend that you do is do a 3-day testing phase, a 3-day testing phase. So you have a maximum of 3 habits, and they have to go one after another. So if it's a morning one, you do the morning one. If it's an evening one, you do an evening one. This was a client that we spoke to. I'm just protecting his name here. But he said we did the 3-day testing phase, and on the 3-day testing phase, we gave him some accountability and feedback. And he was like, I was like, hey bro, how are we doing with this? And he was like, I've gotten the rest of my morning and evening pretty dialed back in, except for the times I wake up and go to sleep. I actually enjoyed the lesson he learned is I actually enjoy the time I wake up. Instead of 7 a.m., it's 9 a.m. And I'll just keep pushing it back an hour per day for the next few days. And I said, okay, that's awesome. What's some of the other lessons you've learned? He said, the lesson I learned is that God is light and God is faith. And when you allow fear to take you, you're not listening to God. You're listening to the devil, and the devil knows that he's hit me good when he knocks me out of alignment with my purpose. And God wants me to make 100K a month and to retire my mom and dad and to live out my deepest aspirations. But you don't learn these lessons if you're in a space of self-blame, beating yourself up, and a constant shame spiral from not following through. One of the biggest productivity lessons that you can learn here is that the more you follow through with what you say you're going to do, the more you're going to get done, because you can trust yourself to get things done. But when you try and do too much, you actually do way less because you're not able to follow through on everything that you're doing. So you're still going to want to be doing things that you've never done before. You're still going to try things that are hard, but do it in stints to prove to yourself and then build trust over time. And then once you've done a 3-day testing phase of your new habit, do a 4-day, do a 5-day, do a 6-day, do a 7-day, and see how it goes. And how does it feel when you learn? Like when you say, hey, what did I just learn? Like if you are watching this video right now, I want to ask you, drop it in the comments. What is something that you've learned already in this YouTube video? And as you do that, it makes you want to learn more. And that's the point. You want to train your brain to learn more about your habits and your behaviors and your patterns. And that's going to make you more productive. So that is number 6. Now, the next lesson here, number 7, is unstructured days equals chaos. Too much structure equals resentment. Now, a lot of people look at Elon Musk and they're like, wow, this guy works crazy hours. He's working 16 hours a day. He's got multiple companies, SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink. He owns Twitter, which, well, formerly known as Twitter, now X. And it's like people are like, well, how the hell does he get so much done? How does he able to operate on all of these business? People are like, oh, he's got all these different people working for him. And I'm like, yeah, he's still got to like coordinate all of that. He's still got to be the CEO of that. Like, that's a crazy amount of pressure. But how does he do it? He structures his days differently. He works on a company per day. I read an article a while ago that said he works typically on one company per day. So that allows him to spread his energy. Now, if you're listening to the gurus who are like, oh, you just need to go with the flow, worst advice in the world whenever you want to do any big numbers, 50, 100K a month, do 7 figures a year, like that's not going to work for you at all. So there's a reason why millionaires go to monks, but monks don't go to millionaires. So with that said, what I like to do is separate my days into go days, flow days, freedom days, rest days. Sunday, day of rest, day for the Lord. All I do in the morning is my 90-minute power planner in the morning that gets me set up for the week, reviews my week, creates clarity, direction, all of the good stuff, gets rid of overwhelm, really sets me up for a strong week. Monday is a go day. This is one of my strongest go days in the week, and this is when I have team meetings, client meetings, and system building. And within that, this is one of those days where I can tell myself what I'm doing every 5 minutes. I can have a different action item mapped out. Now, that's not to say every 5 minutes I'm task switching, but what I am saying is to the minute, to the 5 minute boundary, I can have everything planned out. And literally all I do the day before is just map out everything that I'm going to do for that next day in 15-minute quarters. Now, I can't do that every day because otherwise I burn out. And I also, again, coming back to what I said earlier, when I try and do too much and put too much on my plate, I lose integrity, I start self-blaming, I start having self-trust, and then I self-sabotage, and then I don't get shit done. So that's my first go day. The Tuesday is a flow day. So the mornings are mapped out for sales, and then the afternoon and evening is marked out for marketing. Wednesday is a similar flow day as well, where sales in the morning. I also have one group client clinic in the morning, and then I have the marketing and I have the marketing in the afternoon or evening, which is what we're doing here. We're creating content. On Thursday, it's a go to freedom day. So in the morning up until 1 p.m., I have a go day. I'm like, go, 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 go. We have sales, we have a couple client meetings, we have our get out of your own way community call in the morning as well. But then I have a freedom day. So like freedom is really, I do whatever I want to do. If that's work, I do it. If I rest, let's do it. If it's go hang out with friends as a reward, I go do it. It's whatever my subconscious feels aligned to doing and what I need most. It's a day where I'm asking God, hey, God, how am I going to operate today? Or how would Dan Martell operate today? Or how would Alex Hormozy operate today? Or how would Richard Branson operate today? Or how would Elon Musk operate today? I'm going to flow between those people and do what feels most in alignment with me. Friday is another go day, and it's mainly client operations. So it's mainly client calls all day. And then Saturday is a flow day. So Saturday, I can either take overflow from the sales or marketing, or I can take overflow from client operations, or again, I can go and do whatever I want. It's a flow to freedom day. So they're very similar days. So, and then we're back to Sunday. So we have go days, flow days, freedom days, rest days. Go, 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 get everything done. Flow days is still get some of your high needle moving activities done. Typically, my thing that I do is I'll say, what are the 3 biggest needle movers that I need to do today? And then I structure each out with a recipe for success, and then go with the flow. And then the freedom days, I'm going to just do whatever I want to do. And then rest is for genuine rest. Like there's no scrolling, there's literally time in nature, time to recharge, all of that good stuff as well. Now, lesson 7, it doesn't matter how much healing you do. If your systems suck, your life will suck. Your business will suck. You're still going to get overwhelmed. And some people are going to really hate this, but you can go to as much church as you like, and you can ask for God for as much as you like. But unless you actually build the systems to move you forwards with your productivity, you're still going to keep asking God for help with anxiety, for help with bringing money in, for help with expansion, you're not going to get the answers until you actually act on those things and build the systems that you need to. I've done quantum healing, gone to church. I've done the emotional release screaming that you would have seen maybe online of men or women screaming. Like, I've done all of these things, but what you'll find is most businesses can operate without going to church, without quantum healing, without emotional regulation. You're seeing millionaires who just have better systems than you. And that's why without faith, they're still able to bring in more cash flow and scale their business effectively because their systems are just better than yours. Now, healing and manifesting, you can do as much as you like, but it's not a substitute. Now, an example of what we did with Taylor is we built out her sales and marketing systems together. Now, I'm not here to be a business coach. It's not what I do, but we do help you with your time and your energy management, and we help you build the habits and behaviors that serve you in your business. And she was able to 4x her business in just 5 weeks of working together. And that's what's possible when you actually structure out your success. Because there's two types of growth here. You have quantum leap growth, where you align your mindset, you do a little bit of healing, you just have astronomical growth because you have an identity change, and maybe you're an identity of a productivity person. But if you don't have the systems to retain you at this high level, then you drop down. Whereas linear growth, the step-by-step predictable, consistent growth, happens by building structures and building systems so that when you have this quantum leap, you don't dip down as much. And then you bounce back up, and then you've got more systems to support you. So you have quantum leap growth and you have linear growth. So lesson 8 is you either pay with money or you pay with time. Now, for example, when I first started my business, I was doing everything. I was editing. I was even at 10K a month, I was still editing because I wasn't taught how to do this. I was editing, I was DMing, I was commenting. I was doing so many different things, learning and all of that stuff. But I didn't give anything away. I didn't know how to. I didn't trust other people because I didn't trust myself to follow through. And then when I started building systems for myself, I was like, oh, I could actually give some of this stuff away to other people. And then I realized I didn't even need to pay that much to do it. So an editor, when well trained and you know how to hire, you can get a good editor for $5 an hour. And think of you, for some of you are creating content. Think about it immediately. You could get back 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours a day with your marketing. Like, how would that be for you? You could get somebody from Fiverr to handle your admin and QuickBooks and finances, and that could be $5 an hour as well. So also, that's an aspect of where you can get your time back, but at the same time, you also pay to not make mistakes. So my first month of business, first 3 months, I barely scraped $1,000, barely scraped $1,000. And then what I did was I got a coach and invested, since he was making the money that I wanted to earn, and he had the lifestyle that I wanted. So he then taught me how to do better strategy and how to be more productive and not make as many mistakes. And I just literally just followed everything that he did. Like, I wasn't trying to be the smartest person in the class and do everything my way. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to follow what he tells me to do since he's been successful. And I hit $10,000 in 32 days. I literally just missed out on the 10K in 30 days reward, but I hit 10K in 32 days. And that's why I've always had a coach. Think about yourself. Like, would you rather try and learn Spanish by yourself, or would you rather have a private teacher or a private guide? Would you rather, like, think of all the best athletes in the world. They have sports therapists, physiotherapists. Sometimes they have mindset coaches. They have all these different coaches to help them win, because that's what the best do. The best invest to get to where they want to be. The rest don't. The rest don't invest. The best invest. So if you're in that space where you took some value from this and you're like, you want to learn a little bit more about what we do here over in neuroproductivity, then what I would recommend that you do is book in down below into a consultation call. And really, that's just a call to figure out if we can help you. If you're somebody who's making 5K to 30K a month, then let's talk. If you're somebody that's a little bit below that, then watch some of my other videos and come back to this. Or at least if you have some big goals, we do have a couple earlier people on. who are still gunning towards 50K a month. They book in anyway. The worst comes to worst, and then I can just send you some more training materials or what I think is going to be more specific to where you're at. But again, make sure to book in with this, because at the end of the day, the best invest and the rest don't invest. And that's why 99% of people aren't where they want to be. And that's why where you can be where you want to be by just doing things different to everybody else. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next video.